Did Spain just witness history? Princess Leonor marries Prince Christian live in Denmark. It was supposed to be just another royal engagement, an elegant ceremony between two future monarchs, steeped in tradition and protocol. But what unfolded in Copenhagen this weekend wasn't just a royal wedding. It was the rewriting of European history, lived before millions of eyes. Spain and Denmark united not just by diplomacy but by love. Because against all odds, against centuries of cautious alliances and guarded hearts, Princess Leonor of Spain and Prince Christian of Denmark just made the impossible real. The morning sun over Copenhagen cast a golden hue over Amalienborg Palace. Crowds gathered along cobblestone streets, wrapped in red and white flags, while Spanish fans waved the crimson and yellow of their homeland. Every camera lens, every voice, every heartbeat seemed to ask the same question. Is this truly happening? For years, rumors swirled, quiet whispers that the heir to the Spanish throne, Princess Leonor, and Denmark's future king, Prince Christian, shared a friendship that went far beyond protocol. What began as polite exchanges at royal galas soon grew into subtle smiles, quiet glances, and a bond that neither kingdom could ignore. And now, the world watched as two young heirs turned that quiet affection into a living promise. Inside the Cathedral of Copenhagen, silence fell. The faint echo of the organ filled the air as Leonor appeared at the doors, radiant in a gown that seemed to breathe history itself. It wasn't just a dress, it was a story. A delicate fusion of Spanish lace and Danish silk, woven with symbols of both nations, olive branches for Spain's peace and swans for Denmark's grace. Her father, King Felipe VI, stood proudly by her side. His eyes, wet but dignified, reflected both the weight of the crown and the tenderness of a father letting go. Queen Letizia, elegant and composed, tried to hide her tears as her daughter walked down the aisle, the whispers of centuries echoing in every step. Prince Christian, dressed in Danish naval uniform, turned to face her. His composure wavered just slightly, the kind of moment only love can disarm. For a second, the cameras seemed to vanish, the titles and crowns forgotten. It was just two young souls, bound by destiny and devotion. When the vows began, history held its breath. Te prometo mi vida, Leonor said softly, I promise you my life. Christian replied in Danish, his voice trembling, Og jeg lover dig mit hjert, and I promise you my heart. Those words were more than a union, they were a bridge between kingdoms that once stood worlds apart. As the rings were exchanged, the cathedral bells rang out. Outside, crowds erupted, flags waved, tears flowed, and cheers rolled through the air like a chorus of unity. Spain rejoiced, Denmark rejoiced, and the world realized something monumental had just happened. But this wasn't only about romance. It was about legacy, about a new generation of royals stepping into a world far different from the one their ancestors knew. A world that no longer demands cold diplomacy, but connection, compassion, and authenticity. As Leonor and Christian stepped out of the cathedral, the cheers turned thunderous. They waved from the balcony of Amalienborg Palace, their hands intertwined, the future of two nations reflected in their joined gaze. In that moment, Europe saw something rare, royalty not as relics of the past, but as the embodiment of hope. And yet, not everyone celebrated without hesitation. Behind palace walls, quiet conversations began. What would this marriage mean for Spain's monarchy, still young under Leonor's future reign? Would Denmark's traditions bend under the influence of a Spanish queen? Would politics creep into what seemed like pure love? Historians and analysts began to dissect every detail, the seating arrangements, the diplomatic language, even the floral choices in the royal procession. But the truth was simpler. This wasn't strategy. It wasn't a treaty written on paper. It was a promise written in heartbeats. As the royal procession continued through the streets, the symbolism deepened. Spanish horsemen led the way, their uniforms shimmering under the Danish sun, followed by Danish guards in scarlet tunics. The fusion was seamless, a visual declaration that the old Europe of borders and rivalries had evolved into one of shared destiny. Later that evening, during the grand banquet, both families gathered under the glittering chandeliers of Christianborg Palace. King Felipe rose to speak. His words were few, but his meaning profound. May love guide them where politics cannot. Queen Margrethe II of Denmark smiled, raising her glass in return. And may they remind us that history is not built by power, but by people. It was one of the most symbolic toasts in modern European royal history. Two dynasties, Bourbon and Glucksburg, united by more than tradition. By trust. As the orchestra played softly in the background, the couple shared their first dance. Leonor leaned into Christian's arms, her smile unguarded, her laughter unroyal and free. It was the kind of moment that cameras can capture, but never fully translate. The kind of moment that reminds the world, royalty, beneath all the ceremony, are still human. Throughout the night, images flooded the world. Social media exploded. Millions watched the livestream, hearts swelling with emotion. In Madrid, crowds gathered in Puerta del Sol to celebrate. In Copenhagen, the streets turned into rivers of lights and music. For once, Europe wasn't divided by identity, it was connected by awe. But even as joy spread, deeper questions lingered. What would come next? Would Princess Leonor one day reign from Spain while her husband ruled Denmark? Could two monarchs balance love and duty across two thrones? Would history see this union as a fairy tale, or as the start of a new European era? As dawn broke over Copenhagen the following morning, the newlyweds appeared again, simpler now, just Leonor and Christian, hand in hand. They walked through the palace gardens, their laughter echoing through the chill morning air. No crowns, no cameras. Just two people who had dared to merge fate with choice. It's easy to forget that royal love stories are more than spectacles, they are mirrors of our own longings. The world sees their privilege, but not their restraint. Their power, but not their isolation. And in this rare union, many saw something they had lost faith in, love that defies expectation. Spain looked at Leonor not just as its future queen, but as its heart reborn. A symbol of modern royalty, strong, educated, empathetic, and deeply human. And Denmark saw Christian as the future king who dared to choose emotion over convenience. Together, they had reminded millions what monarchy can mean when it embraces sincerity, not distant power, but living connection. As night fell again on their first day as husband and wife, one question lingered across Europe. Was this merely a wedding, or was it the birth of a new royal age? Because in that cathedral, as vows were exchanged and history shifted, something greater than titles was written. Spain didn't just witness a royal ceremony. It witnessed love become legacy. And maybe, just maybe, this wasn't the end of a story. It was the beginning of one that would shape the destiny of Europe for generations to come. Soft close, emotional ending. So when you ask, did Spain just witness history? The answer is yes. Not the kind carved in stone, but the kind that lives in memory. Because sometimes, history isn't made by wars or treaties. It's made when two hearts choose courage over caution. And when a princess and a prince remind the world that even in the halls of power, love still reigns supreme.